Niger is the second poorest country in the world. It has very high malnutrition rates, a very high level of poverty. People's daily struggle is to find enough to eat. And so CRS Niger focuses its strategy on food security issues. Through that, we do agriculture programs, health interventions, education programs, microfinance programs, because all of that works together to help people either grow enough to feed themselves, to learn how to earn money so they can feed themselves, to have a small loan so they can improve their business.
The harsh reality of not having enough food to eat year-round is the way of life for most Nigerians. Niger is a landlocked country in sub-Saharan Africa. Only 4% of land is fit for farming and grazing livestock. Every year from May to July throughout Niger, temperatures range from 110 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. There is no rainfall, nothing grows. This period is called the sojourn, or the hungry period. It is the time between the end of one year's food supply and the bounty of a new harvest. And it is during this time that most Nigerians have to find ways to secure enough food to eat in order to survive.
Food security means that food is available. That could mean that my field has produced enough food, or that there's food in the market. Food security also means that I have access to that food. So maybe there's food in the market, but do I have money to pay for it? Or is there a road that can get me to the market so I can access the food that's there? Food security also means utilization, and that's more a reference to health. Am I healthy? Is my body in good condition so that it's using the food that I eat to give me energy and to keep me strong?
The village of Lilato was one of the most food insecure areas of the Dougondochi district of Niger. Due to large rock formations and deep sand, the villagers of Lilato couldn't get to the main road. Consequently, there was very limited access to food, healthcare services, and general mobility to nearby areas. By participating in Catholic Relief Services Food for Work program, the community put together what resources they had. With some basic direction from the local CRS staff in Niger, the community built a pathway to the main road, thereby improving their access to food.
C'est la construction des infrastructures. Ça, c'est la première importance.
So the wheat that is being distributed today would be consumed at the household level. People in the homes will be eating it, and that gives them the energy to work during the planting season. Because it is during the planting season that the hunger time comes, and it is generally when there isn't enough food.
Tirana lives in the Lilato village and helped with building the road to the main thoroughfare. But she is one of thousands of Nigerian women who are among the poorest and most marginalized groups in the country. The women in agricultural communities like Lilato dedicate most of their household labor and time to obtaining food. Such hard labor requires energy, which is impossible to achieve without food.
We have a field where we plant our crops. If the year is good, we have enough food to feed the whole family. If the year is bad, there is not enough food.
With so many demands, it is extremely difficult for women from a hungry household like Tirana's to empower themselves. But they do try to maintain their family's health the best way they can in this unforgiving environment. In Tira, another rural area of Niger, CRS seeks to empower women through agricultural and educational programs like the Sesame Project.
This means that we train farmers to know how to cultivate their crops. We train them how to use new seeds that are adapted to the context of shortage of rainfall, because there is not a lot of rain. And we help them to dig wells and get water to do a production with irrigation.
This group of women farmers are shaping their future access and availability to food by establishing a sesame cooperative and growing sesame as a cash crop. This cooperative enables vulnerable farmers rather than private traders to benefit from sesame price fluctuations. Anticipating that the price of sesame will increase from October to the beginning of the hunger period, farmers are now able to store a portion of their crops in village warehouses. Maimona is the leader of this cooperative of women farmers. With the help of the cooperative, her family has successfully increased production from 132 pounds to 1,650 pounds in only 2 years.
By storing the sesame in a warehouse and by waiting until the prices rise, we can compete with the private traders. Not only are we producing larger quantities of sesame, we are also making more money. We can use the money to buy food, clothes, and medicine for the children.
Growing sesame enables families to pay for school fees and reduces the need for school-age girls to work so they can attend school. In many Nigerian households, aside from the formal learning process of attending school, children must also learn ways to achieve food security. Jamila has decided to follow in her grandmother's footsteps to become a sesame farmer.
I used to follow my grandmother around all day working the sesame fields, and that is how I became an expert in growing sesame.
Farther into the Sahel, in an area called Bondo Suji, the Waudabi nomadic tribe treks across a rugged desert in constant search for water and pasture for their livestock. This nomadic way of life is hard for women, and particularly the children who must do their part to support the livelihood of the family. Because children are so essential to the family support system, it is extremely difficult for them to attend school. Similar to the struggle of women in Niger, it's hard for the Waudabi children to maintain the level of activity that it takes to complete their household chores and attend school. It's either one or the other. Additionally, there's limited access and availability to food in the desert. Hungry children do not learn well, even if they do go to school. Hunger makes it nearly impossible for children to concentrate and learn. Their education must also be relevant to their nomadic culture.
Our partner for this project is the Catholic Church. People who have been hired by the church are our field agents, the people who actually live in the nomad zone and work with the communities.
The primary activity in this area is the herding of animals. And compared to the size of the population, there's not a lot of farming that goes on here. Consequently, at the time of the millet harvest in Niger, when the millet prices are lowest, the price of livestock is also at its lowest. Today, the price of buying grass for their animals is more expensive than buying food for their families.
Et c'est là d'abord, nous voulons donner une éducation.
The project will bring education to these children to help them intellectually, to teach them how to read and write. We want to increase their awareness of the environment and their appreciation for their culture. The project will teach them how to improve their social and economic environment. The fight for food security is difficult because the environment is unforgiving. If there is no rain or water, there is no life. The project trained these children new herding and cultivation methods which help their community deal with the environmental factors that affect their food security. This training helps families meet their basic needs. That's our goal. When their families migrate, assurances are made so nomad children have housing and enough food to eat while they are in school.
As
children become more educated, they can teach their families how to improve their lives in the camps by making better use of food. This brings the families hope for the future.
CRS works closely with the local partners in Niger to ensure that the country's food security issues are being addressed. Programs are being put in place that provide Nigerian families with a sense of stability within their community regarding future food needs.
Family and community, that's the network that supports people here. It's really not a me kind of culture. It's not an individual culture, it's community. And I mean, you talk about strength in numbers. I think part of just the strength of spirit we see in the people here comes from the closeness of the community, the way, not just the way they work together, but the way they have to work together to survive.
These projects are just 3 examples of how finding ways to improve food security is important to the people and communities of Niger. These programs help individuals and communities meet their immediate food needs while preparing them to be able to provide for the future.
Have confidence that the people here in Niger want to develop. That's what they are striving for. Together with the people of Niger and the people of the United States, side by side, hand in hand, this country will prosper and everyone will be able to live together in dignity.
Il avait sur moi.